Well, there's no window ninjas threatening me with violence if I don't make another Godzilla video. But then again, Godzilla did turn 70 this year, and they also announced a new movie. So sure, I'll do another Godzilla flick. So when we last left off, after the disappointment of the 1998 American Godzilla, Toho decided to bring Godzilla back themselves with Godzilla 2000, the first of what's known as the Millennium Godzilla series. And they didn't waste any time pumping out more entries because just 1 year later we got Godzilla vs. Megaguirus?
It's called Megaguirus.
Okay, sure, whatever. Now, while the previous series had a relatively tight continuity with multiple continuing characters, the Millennium series took the opposite approach and had almost every entry be its own standalone movie, usually just acknowledging the original 1954 Godzilla. So just to be clear, this isn't a sequel to Godzilla 2000, but it is part of the same series, and it's kind of a sequel to the first one, sorta. Does that make any sense? This one really emphasizes the connection with the original Godzilla film, because it actually uses footage from that one, just with the spiky, frosted tip Godzilla design from the previous movie spliced in, like he's Forrest Gump meeting President Kennedy. This goes a step further than a lot of Godzilla movies, though, because it creates an entire alternate history, where instead of being killed, Godzilla comes back to attack Japan's first nuclear reactor, causing Japan to reject nuclear power and move the capital to Osaka. And to replace nuclear power, they create a new energy source called plasma energy. This is actually a pretty cool idea, although I wish it was developed a little more since outside of this opening scene, the whole alternate timeline thing isn't used very much.
An era of totally clean energy. The plasma-powered energy system.
Yeah, well, I got bad news for you fellas. Godzilla loves clean energy. Well, that and attacking Japan.
Don't forget what I told you! It may be big, but it's still just a lizard!
No, the 1998 Godzilla was just a big lizard. This is the real Godzilla, and he's not gonna run away from the military, especially when it's just a few people with bazookas.
Ready, fire! Pull back!
Oh wow, I can't believe that didn't work. It's no wonder this group of soldiers can't stop Godzilla. Just look at how this one guy reacts to some falling debris. Hey buddy, little tip. Next time, instead of just pushing someone away, how about you actually try running from the falling rubble? Oops, guess there's not gonna be a next time for him. Anyway, after this one girl uses her bazooka to fire out the movie's title, we then cut to 5 years later, and Tokyo seems to be doing well. Not only do the CGI trains run on time, but they've also got plenty of magic tricks for kids.
You take the rice and curry powder and wait 5 seconds.
Wow! Curry on rice!
Okay, I guess in a world where giant radioactive monsters exist, normal things are amazing. Wait a second, this isn't a magic trick.
The bowl is really a microwave oven. The microbots mix the ingredients, and the microwave cooks the mixture.
Oh, it's a trick, told ya.
Oh, tiny robots. I was hoping for something amazing like curry rice.
Magic or no magic, these little machines are a remarkable achievement for a self-taught engineer.
Alright, at least somebody's impressed. This guy is Kudo, who's being recruited by Kariko, the girl from the beginning who's now been promoted to major of a secret anti-Godzilla division of the military known as the G-Graspers.
And this is the command center for our combat troops, the G-Graspers.
Alright, well a hyphen in between the G's would help a lot with that, I'm just saying. Ever since the death of her commanding officer 5 years earlier, Kariko's been obsessed with killing Godzilla, and she wants Kudo to help with a new weapon they're developing.
With a new plasma weapon we're developing. A miniaturized black hole.
Yeah, that's right. Their plan to get rid of Godzilla is to create a weapon that can shoot mini black holes, then attach it to a satellite called the Dimension Tide and shoot it at Godzilla from space. That ought to be enough to get rid of him. And probably everything else on Earth. Alright, this is a completely ridiculous idea, but it is still pretty cool. They've come a long way from trying to kill Godzilla with stuff like the oxygen destroyer from the first movie.
But we must be careful not to damage the planet.
Gee, you think?
Right now, the black hole's too big, so we're counting on you.
Well, Kudo should be up to the task. If he can make little sushi robots, then a black hole weapon shouldn't be a problem. By the way, if anyone was wondering how the alternate timeline affected Japanese television...
kids, and welcome to the show made just for you. That's right, it's Kids Kingdom.
I hate this show. What else is on? There, that's more like it. And wait, who the hell is this kid? Don't tell me this movie has a Kenny in it. Guess what? It does. Kinda. Okay, to the movie's credit, he's not the main character like he would be in a Gamera movie. However, he does still do some very Kenny-ish stuff, like poke around a top-secret military experiment when he shouldn't, so in my opinion, he still counts. Regarding the experiment, they're about to test out that new mini black hole weapon.
It's plasma energy that made this possible. Let's hope it works.
Today is truly a momentous day because we'll either find a way to get rid of Godzilla or destroy the entire world in a singularity. Either way, we won't know until we try it. And when dealing with one of the most powerful forces in the universe, always remember to put your sunglasses on. Safety first, after all. Okay, let's see what this thing can do. Alright, it worked. Now they just need to make it so it can destroy something bigger than a model and they're in business. Oh, and it also left a residual wormhole behind, but I'm sure that won't be important. Just like how the G-Graspers don't consider security important and let little kids wander onto their test site.
Are you a G-Grasper?
Yes, I am.
But you're a woman. So how come you're fighting Godzilla?
I'm breaking the G-glass ceiling, kid. Instead of getting in trouble, she just tells the kid not to tell anybody about what he saw and sends him on his way. Well, this kid sure got off easy. Okay, well, on the plus side, maybe whatever the hell that was will eat him or something. Nah, no such luck. Instead, he wanders onto the set of Pod People, where he finds some kind of monster egg that he ends up taking home with him.
I think I'm gonna like Tokyo. The next time your father gets a transfer, I think he's gonna have to go alone.
You know, this whole thing with the kid and the egg almost seems like the setup to a lighthearted family movie, where it hatches into some kind of cute creature he takes care of.
There's no garbage collection today. You can bring your garbage down tomorrow.
And the dubbing ain't helping here either. Instead of taking care of it though, the kid just dumps it down the sewer. So I guess this is actually the setup to a Japanese remake of Alligator. And now that I say that out loud, I actually wouldn't mind seeing that. Alright, enough of the kid for now. Let's get to Kudo hitting on Kariko at the gym. You know what they say, the quickest way to a woman's heart is with a bullet.
It's a standard ammo round, but it contains a special microtransmitter. I can lock onto the signal and come quickly to your rescue.
Either that or I can use the app I installed on your phone when you weren't looking. And come on, Kariko, don't you know gym etiquette? Put the weights away when you're done and don't shoot at them. Regarding the egg the kid dumped into the sewers, it ends up launching a bunch of smaller eggs which then hatch into some weird bug monsters. So turns out I was wrong. Instead of a Kenny, the kid in this movie is more like one of the little brats from Blue Monkey because he's responsible for giant bug monsters that end up killing people. Don't believe me? Okay, I actually really like this part with a monster that isn't kaiju-sized. It's almost like something out of a horror flick. I kinda wish more of the movie were like this. I do have one question though. Who the hell is this guy? Also, I'm not a huge fan of when it sheds its skin and transforms into its CGI stage. Yeah, that's right, you better be sorry, kid.
Look, it really isn't your fault.
Yes, it is! So what is this thing anyway? A monster from another dimension or something?
It was because of the plasma experiment. An insect must have been in the way, I guess. And it mutated.
Okay, sure, that works too. And apparently monster bugs are a common thing in Japan.
This is a meganulon. It grows into a meganula.
The Meganulon are supposedly based on the giant bug monsters that were first seen in Rodan, although, honestly, these things look so different they probably could have just called them something else. Anyway, they spot Godzilla in the ocean along with the body of one of the insects, and decide to investigate using an advanced fighter jet called Griffin. Okay, well, we never got to see the American Godzilla fight the Griffin, so I guess this Ultraman jet'll have to do. Alright, they got a sample from the bug carcass, but wait, weren't they also tracking Godzilla?
We have a signal.
Godzilla?
Well, it ain't young Gary, lady. See, this is why you never go out at sea in a small raft in a Japanese movie. You might get caught up in Godzilla's purple frosted tips of doom. Kariko does end up making history, though. She's the first person to ever ride Godzilla. Take that, Kong. And you know what they say. If you introduce a tracking bullet in the first act, you damn well better use it before we're even at the halfway point. Congratulations, you now have a way to track the giant radioactive monster. Which I thought you could already do. Meanwhile, looks like the Dimension Tide satellite is finally ready. But first, here's a scientist to give us an exposition dump about the bug monsters.
That giant dragonfly you discovered, I can now confirm, is a Megaguirus.
You didn't need a scientist to tell you that. You could have just looked at the kid's book.
The Megaguirus dragonfly existed here on Earth about 350 million years ago.
Okay, so was it a bug that flew in front of the beam and got mutated? Or was the wormhole a portal through time and it flew through that? Or did it fly through and then get mutated? I'm still not sure what this thing's origin is. He also says that its eggs only develop in water, so if the kid hadn't thrown it in the sewer, none of this would have happened. I'm gonna say it again, this is all his fault. Now, if you remember, the last movie incorporated some CGI effects that didn't look too hot. And if you're wondering what the CGI in this one is like...
We're right above the Shibuya district of Tokyo at the moment, and as you can see, the whole area is underwater.
Yeah, they're still not great here. Don't worry, the Godzilla series will get it down eventually.
Major, we must check this out.
First aid points are being set up at strategic locations.
Could this be any help?
No, Kudo. Showing us your toy collection is not gonna help here. Alright, actually it's a remote-controlled submarine that they use to explore the parts of Tokyo that are underwater, where they find what is either a collection of kaiju droppings, or...
They look like eggs.
Ah, that damn kid. Can't believe I told him this wasn't his fault. Well, first things first, they gotta take care of Godzilla, then they can fumigate Tokyo. The plan is to lure Godzilla to a small, uninhabited island, then use the Dimension Tide on him.
What happens if your toy causes a disaster?
It won't happen, I promise.
Okay, I believe you. Now let's make it official, Major. Hopefully Kudo's perfected the Dimension Tide instead of just slacking off.
What do you got there?
Just a new program I put together in my spare time.
It's a nudifying app I made for Disney characters. Yeah, I joke, but what he did make might not be too far off.
It checks operating systems 15 times faster than other programs.
Yeah, sure, Kudo. They lure Godzilla out to the island, and let's hope they get him there soon. He looks a lot better when he's not underwater. Although, he does look slightly better than in the last movie, but the CGI seemed like he stepped straight out of that PlayStation 2 fighting game. Meanwhile, the army tries to help with Tokyo's bug problem.
Sergeant!
Oh shit, looks like there's terabytes of them now. Okay, I know I'm criticizing the CGI a lot, and while I can appreciate that they tried something different here and had one of the main threats be a swarm of smaller monsters instead of just one Godzilla-sized enemy, I really wish the execution was a little better. Before they're able to use the Dimension Tide on Godzilla, the bugs fly to the same island and mess up their tracking systems. Once again, Godzilla getting attacked by a swarm of bugs isn't a bad idea, but the ropey CGI in the Megaguirus kinda ruins it. Half the time it almost seems like I'm watching a 90s toy commercial.
City after city, Godzilla's destroying everything!
General, who's gonna save us from... Excuse me. Hello? Godzilla!
Well, if you got a bunch of monster dragonflies trying to suck your blood, you could try swatting at them, and if that doesn't work, Godzilla's equipped with his own bug zapper. Yeah, let's see the Orkin Man do that shit. Good news, Godzilla, you got rid of the bugs. Bad news, now they can use the Dimension Tide on you. Ah, just kidding. Of course Godzilla's not dead. Apparently they forgot to calibrate the Dimension Tide before firing it.
I told you the equipment wasn't ready, but you wouldn't listen!
Yeah, well fix it, Kudo, or you're gonna be back doing parlor tricks for little kids. And they better hurry up and get the Dimension Tide working.
Do you think that Godzilla's heading for Tokyo?
Well, it's quite possible.
I'd say it's more than possible. Godzilla doesn't seem to know the rest of the world even exists. By the way, if anyone was wondering if the whole movie was just going to be Godzilla fighting a swarm of little bug monsters instead of one big one, don't worry, because the Mega Nula take the energy they slurped up from Godzilla and use it to feed their Mega Mommy Nula. So here's our first look at Godzilla's main opponent for the movie, Megaguirus, which doesn't happen until well over an hour in. Yeah, sure, in the last movie we didn't see Orga until about the last 20 minutes, but that movie wasn't called Godzilla vs. Orga. Oh well, better late than never, I guess. Regarding Megaguirus' design, it's kind of a combination between Batra from Godzilla and Mothra, and the monster Eric Stoltz turns into in The Fly 2. I actually kinda like it. It's definitely not the most unique Godzilla monster ever. It's basically just a big bug, but it's still pretty badass looking. Also, like a lot of flying kaiju, it can cause destruction with its wings, but there's a bit of a twist here. Yeah, that's right. Megaguirus takes annoying insect buzzing to a whole new level. I'm sure he's fine. Okay, well, he's kinda fine. I mean, he's alive, right?
That thing was absolutely huge. It was the king of the Meganula.
Yes. It's called Megaguirus.
Megaguirus?
You like it? It was a toss-up between that and Megaguidon.
That is chosen among the Meganula. Like a queen bee.
Of course, the king of the Meganula is like a queen bee. The duke of all insects. As if Megaguirus wasn't enough, they also gotta worry about Godzilla.
Tell me, why is it heading for Tokyo?
Why do you think? Alright, the real reason has to do with some shady government official continuing secret plasma energy production there, but personally, I think he's heading for Tokyo because he's Godzilla. Okay, time for the final battle. Although Godzilla might want to be careful. Megaguirus is so powerful it even steals frames from Godzilla. Ooh, and it also fights like a dirty bastard. The last fight scene here is kind of similar to the one with Mothra and Batra in Godzilla and Mothra: The Battle for Earth, right down to the giant Ferris wheel in the background. The difference being that even though Megaguirus is done practically with a puppet, a lot of the time it's shot in front of a screen and has been keyed in, which kind of makes it look like a sticker that's been pasted into the scene. They also add a bunch of awkward digital after effects like blurring and speed, which do not hold up very well. There's parts where you can practically see the mouse moving it. I much prefer the fight from Godzilla and Mothra, where most of the effects were done in camera. In any case, Godzilla better think of a new strategy. Megaguirus keeps stinging him in the crotch and stealing his energy. He is really lucky he doesn't seem to have anything down there. Now, the Godzilla series has plenty of moments where the Big G does something ridiculous. Think the Godzilla victory dance from Monster Zero, using his breath to fly in Smog Monster, the running tail drop kick from Megalon. So, what does this movie have? Yeah, that's right. Godzilla does a flying body drop like he's Macho Man Randy Savage. My favorite part is right before when Megaguirus looks up and seems to go, huh? Megaguirus isn't fucking around anymore though, because it unleashes a Hadouken fireball that we've never seen before, which not only knocks Godzilla down, but also damages the frame rate again for some reason. Time to go in for one last sting. Ooh, you shouldn't have gone for the head.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Meanwhile, Megaguirus' energy causes the Dimension Tide to fall out of orbit, and by falling, I mean it goes straight down. You know, this movie about giant radioactive monsters and black hole guns isn't very scientifically accurate. It also has trouble locking onto Godzilla, although frankly I'm amazed it even still works at all after all this. It's no problem though. Kariko just has it lock onto the Griffin, which she then rams into Godzilla, ejecting at the last minute. Huh, I wonder if Godzilla -1 took some inspiration from this. Look, it doesn't matter if you hit Godzilla, he's coming back no matter what.
What happened to Godzilla?
It's gone.
You sure about that?
We've received a report. Seismic activity.
You think it's due to Godzilla?
Well, I guess it doesn't matter if Godzilla survived or not. The next movie doesn't continue on from this one. But wait, we're not done yet, because there's an after-credits scene with the Kenny. Okay, I can't prove it, but I'm just gonna assume that Godzilla coming back is also that kid's fault somehow. In most fan rankings of the Godzilla series, this one usually ends up somewhere towards the bottom. Personally, I think it's okay. There are some cool ideas here, like the alternate timeline and the military using a black hole weapon to get rid of Godzilla, but a lot of them aren't really used to their full potential. The worst of this is the human storylines, with stuff like Kudo's budding romance with Kuriko, and a shady government official hiding experiments with plasma energy being really half-baked. Not to mention, this was at the awkward point in the series where they started incorporating more CGI effects, and looking back today, they don't hold up as well as the traditional man-in-suit stomping on models techniques. Like I said though, they get it down eventually. I think that's the most frustrating thing about this movie. If these elements had just been more fleshed out and executed better, this movie could have been awesome. Instead, it's just kinda average. I do disagree somewhat with a lot of G fans in that I don't think it's one of the worst though. Well, that's my last video of the year, so I'll see y'all in 2025. Until next time.
Why do you need to be fit when you're gonna make Godzilla disappear up his own butthole, huh?